This is the iVANKY Fusiondock Pro 3 with Thunderbolt 5. And this is the brand new FusionDock Max 1 with Thunderbolt 4, specifically for Mac. We're going to go over comparison for each of these two docks so you can decide which one is best for you. The main difference being if you need Thunderbolt 4 or Thunderbolt 5, but we'll get into all the details. So the first thing we're going to look at is just the overall size between the two of them. You can see that the FusionDock Pro 3, which is this one right here, is much longer, but is skinnier in general than we have with the Max 1. The Max 1 you see is shorter, but is a little bit thicker. You can kind of see the difference there. And then overall top platform, they're pretty much the exact same. And maybe the Pro 3 is a little bit skinnier front to back, but just like a millimeter or maybe even less than that. So pretty much the same profile on the top, but thickness and lengthwise is kind of where you're going to have to decide what is best for you on your desk. The Max 3 is made of metal. It's cool to the touch coming out of the box, and you can see that there are air vents along here to help with cooling all along that, so that's really great to see. And then you have the Pro 3, which is our Thunderbolt 5 dock, which doesn't really have any active cooling besides on the upper top here. It just sits flat on your desk, but then is skinnier. The top is made out of metal as well, but they do seem like two different types of metal when it comes to there, but they're both super solid and very well made. Now I'm going to go over some of the key differences between the two and just start with a spec overview, and I'll kind of guide you through which one is going to be best for you, and then we'll go over key differences and how you're going to make the right decision, whether you want the Thunderbolt 5 with the Pro 3 or Thunderbolt 4 with the Max 1. So starting out with the upstream host, the Pro 3 gets Thunderbolt 5 from 80 to 120 gigabits per second, and then the Max 1, which is Thunderbolt 4, gets two Thunderbolt 4 ports, both at 40 gigabits per second. And you can see those right there. These are going to be your two Thunderbolt ports designated by the lightning bolt. And then you can see that on this one as well with the Pro 3 with your 140 watt and 60 watt charging there. In terms of downstream displays, the Pro 3 is going to get two 6K at 60 Hertz on Mac with an option for an 8K display. And then the Max 1 is going to get you quad displays, which you can do 3 times 6K monitors plus one 4K if you have an M1 or an M2 Max chip. I'll leave a comment down below. I need to double check on the M3 and M4s to see if the Pros are going to be able to handle that or not, or if you are going to need a Max chip on those as well. But check the comments down below. I just need to get that information from the site or email somebody from iVANKY on this as well. And then in terms of Thunderbolt ports, as I've said before, on the Pro 3, you're going to get 3 times downstream of Thunderbolt 5 plus 1 upstream. And on the FusionDock Max 1, you are going to get 2 upstream Thunderbolt 4s plus 4 times downstream USB-Cs at 40 gigabits per second. So a lot more functionality in terms of ports and Thunderbolt ports, but you do get the 3 Thunderbolt 5s on this one. So it's just going to be up to you whether you need Thunderbolt 5, which is an insane amount of speed and transferring speeds, or Thunderbolt 4, which is still, pretty much industry standard at this point. In terms of USB-C ports, on the Pro 3, you have 2 USB-A's at 10 gigabits per second, 1 USB-A at 5 gigabytes per second, and those are designated right here. Here are your 3 and your 2 on for the 10 and 1 for 5. And then on the front, you have the 1 for 10. USB-C ports on the Max 1 is going to give you 6 USB-A's at 10 gigabits per second, 2 of which are on the front right here, 2 times USB-C at 10 gigabits per second, which you can see right here, one of which is a 20 watt power draw, and then you're going to get 5 USB-Cs at 40 gigabits per second, and you can see those on the back right here. And also the other USB-As for 10 gigabits per second are sitting on the back. For SD card slots, on the Pro 3, you get 1 SD card slot for UHS 2 and SD 4.0 at 312 megabytes per second on read speeds. And on the Max 1, you get also 1 SD card slot, but 1 micro SD card slot, UHSS 2 at SD 4.0. On the back, looking at Ethernet ports, both are going to have the exact same 2.5 gigabytes of Ethernet speed. For audio I/O, on the Pro 3, you're going to get 1 3.5 millimeter TRRS, and then on the Max 1, you're going to get 1 3.5 Plus on the back, you get one of the Toslink optical drives as well. And then in terms of the power adapters, which are both come in the box, you get 180 watts or 140 watts to Mac. And then in terms of the power adapter, on the Pro 3, you're going to get 180 watts or 140 watts to Mac, and then 60 watts of power draw to your devices. And then on the Max 1, you're also going to get 180 watts, 96 watt to Mac, and then 20 watts to iPhones or other connected devices. Data bandwidth on the Pro 3 gives you 120 gigabits per second via that Thunderbolt 5 or the SD at 312 megabytes per second. And on the Max 1, you get 40 gigabits per second on USB-C and 10 gigabits per second USB-A. So really your target use cases for the Pro 3 is really future ready now with Thunderbolt 5 setups and dual 6K and 8K monitors. On the Max 1, you're going to get Pro level quad display for Max setups. Now the Max 1 is only capable of connecting to a Mac, where the Pro 3 can connect to PCs and Mac. But so if you're kind of a videographer or you're going to be doing video editing, you could use your 4 displays on Mac here, which is great, or you can get the 6K and 8K monitors with the Pro 3. So going back and just kind of talking about some of those key differences to really highlight to help make your decision easier. On the display support, on the Pro 3, you're going to get dual 6K at 60 Hertz displays or a single 8K or triple 4K on Thunderbolt 5. On your Max 1, you can get up to 4 displays, 3 times 6K plus 1 4K on M1 and M2 Max/Pro chips. Thunderbolt bandwidth on the Pro 3 gives you full Thunderbolt 5 speeds of both 80 and 120 gigabits per second, which is just blazing fast. And then on Max 1, you get dual Thunderbolt 4 controllers totaling 80 gigabits per second. So kind of the same, but you can split it with the Max 1 or just go all out with one on the Pro 3. For power delivery, if that's what you're looking for, it's going to be the Pro 3 coming out on top with up to 140 watts for laptops, plus 60 watts for power draw if you're going to connect a phone, iPad, or any other devices to that. The Max 1 comes up a little bit short of that with 96 watts to Max and 20 watts for power draw to devices. So we're going to get a little bit of slower charge on your iPhones and then not being able to charge any connected laptops as fast. For port variety, this is where it's kind of up to you and what you're looking for. The Pro 3 has really streamlined an 11 port design with the 3 Thunderbolt 5s and Essential I/O. And the Max 1 has a ton of different features with a 20 port powerhouse, USB-A's and C's, 2 SD card slots, and audio ports for really anything you're going to need to hook up into this. So which one should you choose? If you're going to be choosing the Pro 3, you're basically the person that wants the latest Thunderbolt 5 speeds of up to 120 gigabits per second. You can run dual 6K or 8K monitors on this absolute beast, and you need high wattage power delivery of up to 140 watts to your laptop, and you prefer a little bit more compact design and future-proofed for absolutely years to come. And I say compact design because it is just a little bit thinner, but it is going to take up more desk space. So, but if it's underneath your monitor, really not a big deal, depending upon picking between the two of them. And then you're going to want to opt for the FusionDock Max 1 if you're after quad display functionality on an M1, M2 Pro or Max, and then now even M3 or M4s. And then if you need an abundance of USB-C and USB-A ports. With dual SD card slots, you get a lot of room for any videographing. You could have 2 different plugins there and then 2 audio jacks as well. So the Max is really there for your photo and video editing and just needing all those displays and being able to see everything all at once. And then 40 gigabits per second with the Thunderbolt 4, which is super sufficient for pretty much anybody, and you value the extensive connectivity of this box, which we'll just look at the back one more time to kind of show you everything that you can plug into this. So just going over my final thoughts on these, I don't think you can really go wrong with any of them, especially, the FusionDock 3 I think would be my preferred because I don't have 4 monitors. I like the speeds and Thunderbolt 5 and power delivery, but if I was a massive editor, and I do edit my videos on this, but I can handle it with just this. I have 2 displays and then my Mac open, so it does work. But if you're really needing a ton of screens and a lot of functionality of plugging in different devices all in one, your Max one is definitely the way to go there. But let me know down in the comments what your guys' use cases are, and if I can help answer any further questions to guide you in the right direction of which one you should purchase. Thank you so much to iVANKY for sending me these. My opinions on this are my own, and I'm really just trying to give you guys the raw data and point you in the right direction of which dock is going to be best for your setups. But let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. Please go ahead and like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.